From the Big Bang till the heat death. Spoilers for the Dark Forest. Spoilers are overrated anyway. Fuck off. Stories are more than their endings. I cannot imagine Sisyphus happy. Like, what the fuck, Amu? Managed to roll a rock up a mountain from where it will always end up falling back for eternity? I genuinely cannot process how just a sheer acceptance of this fate can be embraced like that. Sisyphus would be doing this rock thing for eternity and he should be bubbling with fucking oxytocin and shit. Maybe I'm too stupid to understand it, probably, but it does not sit right with me. There are stories used as a metaphor for embracing our weird existence. Nothing makes sense most of the time, and I should embrace this absurdity of living on this planet, not knowing why or how we are here. The weight of the entire thing is too much for someone to be happy. Plus, Sisyphus, you bitch. You escaped death, you did not escape delusion, bro. Gods exist in your world, bitch. And you don't have to deal with the Industrial Revolution and fucking TikTok. Fuck. Imagine you're a physicist and you're tasked with creating the first artificial black hole for humanity to further the research into fundamental physics. Imagine you succeed. You become the first person to see a black hole for the first time. And you get obsessed with that black hole. And I mean obsessed like a motherfucker. And one day, out of that sheer mad obsession, you jump into it. Now, under general relativity, an outside observer will see you fall into the black hole, your fall slowing down until you reach its event horizon, where you stop completely, frozen in time, floating. Now, under general relativity again, from your perspective, you just kept falling into the black hole until its gravitational pull ripped your body apart, spaghettified it. You're dead. Now, imagine again, your grieving wife. She's sad. She goes to your insurance company and tries to claim your insurance, which is a lot considering you made the first black hole and all. The company claims that since they can still see your body frozen at the event horizon, in their perspective, and in the perspective of everyone else, you're still alive, falling in the black hole indefinitely. You are not dead. So they won't let your wife claim your insurance. So your wife sues the World Academy of Sciences itself. This is a small subplot from the world of the Three Body Problem trilogy. It is a hard sci-fi story about humanity's 4-century-long preparation and war with an alien race known as the Trisolarians that are coming to invade and exterminate our planet. And it is, in my opinion, one of the greatest stories ever told. At one point in the second book, The Dark Forest, Luoji, our main protagonist, is with his love interest, Suang Yan. They both are in the Louvre, standing in front of the Mona Lisa. Yan points at Mona Lisa and says,
I wonder if humans could form a language that only we could understand. That way we would be free of the Trisolarians monitoring us.
I get what you mean. Her eyes and her smile are something only humans have the sensitivity of understanding.
Yan asks,
So it is possible to create a language of expression that can be spoken using just eyes and faces?
After a serious thought, Luo says,
We can't even understand her expression. When I stare at the painting, the meaning of her smile changes every second and never repeats itself.
He adds,
How will you communicate the spacecraft have left Earth, destination Jupiter, just using facial expressions and eyes?
Yan tries to convince Luo about how at first language was primitive and then humans developed it through trial and error and hundreds of years, which they have in this case. As a way to test this hypothesis, they look into each other's eyes. Both of them are left with an awful feeling, a feeling shared by the entire human race in the book, that all these attempts are futile. Humans are technologically ants as compared to the Trisolarians, and they are coming. A fear lingers whether humanity will win this war against them. a fear that will only be resolved 400 years into the future. Man's search for meaning and the debilitating sadness that comes with it. Did it not break your heart when you realized that this religion thing was a complete make believe? That we are almost at a 25% completion of the 21st century and there isn't much that you've accomplished? Everything feels so stale, tasteless, and plastic. You walk through life with a gravitational pull on your shoulder, doubling every decade. The bland days turn tiring, your built up persona starts melting. The cameras only capture your now aging, sunken eyes. You start finding children annoying. Your failures stack up, and you go through life getting bruised up by the minute, accumulating trauma like Pokemon cards. You escape with unholy amounts of unprocessed emotions, families that don't really work. Your love at best is only slightly misunderstood. The relationships fail into misunderstandings and wrong expectations. People come and go, and no one's left to blame, and nothing to cling to. Cold and damp. You try to change the world, you end up changing yourself. You patch these bullet holes with bandages. Your jeans definitely aren't helping. Desensitized by most things, disassociating so hard it feels like a movie you're not interested in. And somewhere along those sad lines, you stop trying to be good. Remaindered and tangled, unresolved and irreconcilable. You take your final breath and ask what was all this stupid shit for. Nothing, screams Sisyphus inside of you. Nothing. It's a zero-sum game and you take nothing with you. It's not an existential crisis. The rock rolls down the hill one final time. It's an existential catastrophe. Bitches be like, why don't you listen to me? Bitch, I cut my ear off because the sadness will last forever. Is that yellow paint? We live on a suspended rock engulfed with inexpressible dark infinite nothing and then some stars that we barely get to see these days. We are a tiny speck of dust on a tiny speck of dust with a brain that's physically incapable of making sense of it all. Life feels like a slippery, impossible to win balancing act and we fail most of the days. Our boy Sisyphus did not have to deal with all this. The fuck-ass thought they were gods for fuck's sake. Do you think he would have enjoyed the works of Albert Camus? I bet if he read that, he should imagine himself happy. He would have actually successfully killed himself. Let the boulder roll over him. How do you define a hole? What the fuck is a hole? Is a hole emptiness surrounded by a hole lining? That would imply the whole lining is a hole. But if the whole lining surrounds holes, how can things surround themselves? Why did our brain evolve thoughts and emotions? What is deja vu? Why do we grieve? Is any species sufficiently conscious enough will eventually drop nuclear juice on each other and end it all? Why don't we see aliens when we look out?
Summary of human history.
Would you like to enslave the weak together? Maybe later?
I would like that.
And we are calling it iPhone. Today,
Spoilers for Afterlife.
Fuck.
Holy shit, the romantics are at it again. This is not well researched. This video will age. Just know that I want to be wrong in the best of ways. And it was on the day I almost forgot for the first time how many days it has been. My toe swollen, the rock rolling down the hill again. I sigh. I begin going down again. It must be midnight right now because it's getting hard to keep the eyes open. As I make my way down the mountain, slipping through mud and stones, My knees hurt eternally. They don't get damaged, but I feel all the pain. Although, surprisingly, it's the loneliness that hurts the most today. Everything is an incredible burnout and nothing makes sense. It does not even feel challenging like it felt the first 10 times. And counting these days feels futile now. I reach a steep valley. My tired walking leads to a wrong step and I fall down. Screaming in agony, I stand up, and as I'm wiping the dust off my body, a beam of soft bluish light shines on my face. I look in the direction of the beam. My deep sunken eyes adjust to the bright light. It's a hole, torn open on the ceiling of the underworld. The valley nearby is still gloomy and foggy, but that soft blue light pokes through the fog. As my eyes adjust to the light, I see the blue sky. It is midnight. I see stars in the sky. I see stars for the first time. Something moves in my chest. I collapse from the exhaustion and fall on my knees, but I keep staring at the hole. What must be going on those stars? There must be some warmth there. I think to myself, it must be okay there. For that brief moment, I forget that my knees were aching and my toes were swollen. Some huge burden gets lifted off. My soul feels warm. The eyes get teary. Must be the bright light, I think to myself. Still heaving heavily, I look at my hands, calloused and bruised. It has been 1,000,000 days, I remember. It has been 1,000,000 days since I've seen the sky, the stars, that warmth. The hole starts closing. The light goes away. Slightly moved, mostly content, I stand up and begin counting my days again. 2 centuries later, Luo, Yan, and their daughter are standing in front of a gravitational wave antenna. Humans stop the war through mutually assured destruction. Luo and Yan look into each other's eyes again. This time their eyes communicate a world of meaning. A new language is formed. A world where roses bloom. A language that they hypothesized 2 centuries back in front of the Mona Lisa. A Trasolarian operator interrupts them and asks Luo Ji, "Is this love?"
Probably.
Nods Luo with a gentle smile. He then tells Luo that their species also had love at one point in their history, but since it was not conducive to their survival, the seeds of love were suppressed. But still in certain individuals love blossomed. He pleads to Luo that the seed of love will blossom in other parts of the universe too, and that the humans and the Trasolarians ought to foster them, fight for them.
That's a risk worth taking.
Says Luo.
We can take risks.
Smiles Yan. From the Big Bang to the heat death, and to a little while that we get to be, our silly little consciousness gets to enjoy our silly little paintings and music. One might ask, why did compassion and love form amidst this cold, uncaring universe? Because the universe is not actually uncaring. I'm part of the universe, so are you. We get to decide our compassion. We get to decide our love. You get to decide if you want to hit that bell. Now the same piece of shit might again say, free will does not exist, you don't get to decide anything. Well, okay then, let's say it does not. If everything is already decided from the Big Bang to the heat death and we have no say in our own fate, then it's the universe expressing herself through a cosmically beautiful dance, and you get to be a part of that dance. If free will does not exist, your actions might not be informative or instructive, they become performative. Instead of informing or instructing, you are actualizing the next dance steps for her. The dance steps could be compassionate or they could be cruel. Everything becomes a meaningful performance. A cosmic dance just started 14 billion years in the past and still have a long way to go. Free will might not exist, it would still matter cosmically. Over romanticizing, you say? Okay, listen, whatever you believe in, this is a fact. Art, hope, love, and the human spirit are features of this universe that gets expressed through our bodies and our minds. It's a miracle we get to have our humanity anyway. We came into being out of planets crashing and stars collapsing, destructions after destructions. We are disaster's favorite children. We are mathematical impossibilities. So much so that there's a whole fucking paradox because of it. Through the history of our species, what has defined us is our creativity, temptation, badness, and a deep, deep longing. Consciousness is overrated. Dreams is where it's at. That's what led us here. That's what led us to the moon. And that is what will lead us to Mars and everything after that. We will cross light years like we crossed oceans for the first time. We made boats and went straight into the oceans, not knowing if we will ever find dry land. To quote Robert Ardrey, the miracle of man is not how far he has sunk, but how magnificently he has risen. We will be known among the stars by our poems, not our fallen corpses. So go ahead. Look at the setting center of our solar system today. Be grateful it does not fucking go off for the next 100 years, allegedly. And you can run. And you can run real fast. And it will feel like you're flying for a couple of seconds before the pain hits. What more do you want than the want to fly anyway? From Icarus to no internet on stupid airplanes. From Da Vinci to Goku. You can run so fast that for a few moments, the sound of the wind cupping your ears will overwhelm the sound of Sisyphus inside of you. And you will forget to depressingly ask what the point of it all is. And you will remember the point was to stop asking for the point. And if we play our cards really right, we will get to explore the moon and Mars and the fucking cosmic cliffs. That shit is 7 light years tall. And then we will be banishing Sisyphus on the moons of Jupiter. Who knows, he might actually find his happiness there this time. We will evolve beyond our language and we won't need stupid metaphors like this video anymore. This video will age. And by the way, we define a whole by looking at one and realizing it's a whole. It's not that big of a deal, philosophers. You see something, you get bricked up, that's a fucking hole, dude. Spoilers for Afterlife might be the cold black void. But spoilers were overrated anyway. Stories were always more than their endings. Way more. Yeah, it sucks most of the time, but when it does not, make sure to say out loud, well, ain't this nice? The food is good, the sun is shining, God is great. It's a god-awful small affair. David Bowie. It was the 60s. Most of humanity was busy with the Cold War. Every major country was trying to win the space race, seeing who gets to go to the moon first, who had a bigger dick. The idea of the sheer vastness of the universe and how insignificant we really were was just setting in our mind collectively. The gods were actually dying this time. We did not know what space was. Our brains were never meant to comprehend it. The universe was an inexpressible dark infinite nothing. What kind of feelings would you attach to this void except for the fear of the unknown? And then comes David Bowie, Stanley Kubrick, Andrei Tarkovsky, and other artists, directors, musicians, and writers with their extremely visionary view of the future. What these artists did was give us a frame of reference to look at the universe, and instead of fear this time, look at it with a deep longing, creativity, adventure. They made the entire universe okay for us. So now comes the point of this video. In this decade and the next, we are going to have a major paradigm shift. We will be taking our first steps to becoming a spacefaring civilization. We will go back to the moon again, and then Mars, and then the rest. there will be a need for a new wave of visionary artists, writers, musicians, filmmakers to make that new paradigm okay for us. So that in the coming years and decades, instead of being afraid of space, they play our songs, they look at our paintings and our movies, our books, while they venture forth into space and usher a new era for humanity. That's what defined us, the adventure and the undying spirit. So pick up the brush or the guitar, be playfully bold and nothing short. For a few moments we get to do this and we are not here for long. And in my stupider than stupid opinion, you can spend the rest of your life getting your mind blown, literally every day, by what we have created and imagined in the past. That's a good way to get by, if there is any. From boulders to black holes, from Sisyphus to Bowie, from meaninglessness to forgetting about it, from the Big Bang till the heat death, and to maybe, hopefully, a Big Bang again. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, the meaning of life is by the From the Big Bang till the heat death.